Three, two, welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Brad Wren.
I'm donating iRating, so join a race with me.
Well, I did that today. David Hall.
Yeah, same.
On today's show, we get some upcoming build teaser shots. Find out what the fallout was for the Kansas iRacing Coke eNASCAR Series race at Kansas. More Sim Gaming Expo announcements. See if a $15,000 sim rig is really worth it. Is there a new wheelbase coming from Logitech? And which real-life driver found an exploit in iRacing?
That's right. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
So that real-life race driver that found the exploit was Hocevar himself. I gave us a watch. He was racing one of the smaller sports cars. I don't remember if it's the MX-5 or something similar. And there was a place where he got a slowdown and then went ahead and pulled across a part of the track to kind of sort of get out of the way so he could serve the slowdown off the racing line. And it took away his slowdown and let him get back going and gain time. And he turned back around and filmed it again and said, I'm testing this for iRacing. And he wants the rule banning this slowdown to be named after him. I mean, it's a catch-all rule, but we can just go ahead and name that Kosovar Corner.
Ooh, I like that. Kosovar Corner? Or the Hocevar Slowdown? Look, this guy is the hottest driver in NASCAR right now, I think. You know, he's young, he's new, he's kind of brash. He's up there mixing it up for the lead in a lot of these races. So I'm impressed. And then he goes on iRacing and he acts like a bro.
So I'm trying to figure out what track it is, but I just can't seem to tell.
Is he the equivalent? Like, I don't mean in talent wise, but he's
Head out there, Greg.
You cut off. What we heard
sorry.
Is he the...
Sorry, is he the equivalent? And I don't mean talent wise. This is just kind of a comparison. Is he like the NASCAR oval side of the Max Verstappen content wise? Like, he's kind of the face of doing iRacing content on the oval side?
Probably at the cup level, yeah. I mean, there's some other guys in lower levels that have been pretty big streamers too. Fast Pasta was around for quite a while.
Yeah, Anthony.
Raja streams as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, Roger Caruth is on a lot right now.
Yeah, he's got a rig in the hauler. So, I mean, he's been streaming on iRacing during rain delays. I think they did that during the 500.
David, speaking of Raja, you bring him up. He wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I just give him a shout out. He's always been associated with iRacing. Nice young gentleman from everything I have heard. Very polite and professional. And he's got talent, obviously. Yeah,
he did a really good job. I mean, the picker got him out there front, but he had to hold off Heim. And just good. Glad to see him get a second win. And he won last year at Las Vegas in a pretty convincing fashion. Just like to see him a little bit more consistency, but I don't think the Spire trucks have been as good as they were last year either.
He did his iRacing pose where, he got out of the truck and he put his arms up like victory. And I think later in the week, he, retweeted a picture of that, asked, hey, iRacing, how did I do?
Well, we always celebrate the iRacers when they reach the real life success, and so this is a great story to follow. We'll be rooting for them to continue rising. Next up, we have ChatGTP analyzing a lap, and this was actually pretty effective. The guy said that it kind of sort of actually knew what it was doing. Essentially, what he did is he took Garage 61 telemetry, took a screenshot of it, posted it into the Chat GTP, and then the Chat GTP would tell him what the other driver was doing different than him, and help him figure out where to improve his lap specifically.
It dumbed it down for him.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen something like this before, with guys that have done this and tried to even offer changes. I don't think he got so far as into asking for any changes or anything. It was more just looking for a comparison.
It was not changes to setup. It was more about racing coaching.
Yes, about driving changes. I mean, it gave him some ideas of where he was, braking later or braking too early and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's very cumbersome, I think, to try to do it right now. For me to look at telemetry is pretty easy. I can tell if I can overlay my lap onto somebody else's. It's pretty easy to see where you're slow, or if you're if you're too early, too late, or whatever it is. But I don't know. I think AI is going to continue to get used more and more. It just needs to get to a point to where it's something very convenient and easy to use.
I was just thinking about that, Brad. Like, I love thinking about user interfaces and ease of use and that kind of thing. I was all over the beta UI for the longest time. But thinking ahead, let's think ahead 3-5 years from now in iRacing. How do we want Chat GPT to be integrated? Like, I'm thinking tooltips. You know how we have tooltips where you hover over something and it gives you more information? It's going to be kind of like that. Like, but you should have it all baked into the sim, where you can click on something and analyze it further.
Yeah, maybe you've got like an engineering screen. So you go in the garage, and instead of just your car setup stuff, you've got an engineering tab. The engineering's going to go in and it's going to take your last, I don't know, say your last, you could set it to whatever you want to do. Look at my last 5 laps and then compare them or something. Would be interesting to be able to do that. And then maybe it takes and grabs, who's the quickest guy in the session you're in, grabs his telemetry, because all that stuff is available now for the most part. And overlays those two and then walks you through, where, I don't know, just like you said, you hover over, cornering, or you hover over braking or something like that. And it kind of walks you through the lap of telling you, where is he faster, or what are you doing? What could you do better? He's braking, he's braking, 50 yards deeper into the corner than you are, or something.
Could it be something where it ends up being a crew chief and you say, hey, look, you press a button talking to your crew chief saying, hey, I'm loose here, and it starts doing like adjustments too for like when you're in the race?
That would be so cool. You'd be in the race and it's like, this thing's tight. And then you go into pit and the AI crew chief that's built into the sim just, hey, they took air pressure out of the left rear, or whatever.
So replace anybody who does have real life crew chiefs with the AI.
Look, we all know it's coming.
Well, or maybe even you describe what's wrong, and before you come into pit, it gives you an option. Hey, we could do this, or this.
A, B, or C, right?
Right. Because again, I don't know if I completely trust. I mean, it's just, I don't know if I completely trust it to do that, because there's things that, depending on how tight or loose, I will make different adjustments, and sometimes you can get the same. No, absolutely not.
The thing with AI, I know it's going to get better, but it does still hallucinate, and you can trick it into giving 4 different definitions for the same thing.
Have you not seen how
just by the way you ask?
Real crew chiefs? Have you not seen how real crew chiefs act? They hallucinate sometimes too when they make pit calls.
Then you just get Justin Allgaier to make your calls for you.
Stay it out.
Yeah, but remember, most people on iRacing are lone sim racers. They're out there on their own island by themselves. Having an AI crew chief, an AI spotter, all these things integrated, I think it'd be cool. Neat feature.
I've always wanted, like, I don't understand, like, I understand how the car works, and I know what certain things do. I wish there was better ways of coming across to people that don't go as deep into it. Like I know you can hover over and it explains to you what it does, but I wish there was a way that I could use the information a bit better. Maybe it's just me in general with that, but I remember back when I first started racing, I took one of the trucks, and for a whole weekend I just went around the track making adjustments with everything to see what it did to the car. But that didn't mean I learned anything, because you could change the camber here on something and do it and then change a spring rate, and they don't work together type thing. I learned what they would do but I don't know how to build it all together.
All right, well, let's jump back into the kind of the sim to reality or reality to sim stories. We got a quote from Dale Earnhardt, and I do believe I remember either seeing this posted or hearing him say this. He said he just wants to tell Max. This was when he was at the F1 race. I remember they talked about it at one of his shows. He said, "I wanted to tell Max, dude, I appreciate everything you do for the sim world. You legitimize it."
Well, he was a guest for Red Bull, wasn't he, at the Miami one?
Yeah. So the story is, David, is he, like Greg said, he was a guest at the F1 race, him and Amy, and he had his opportunity to sit there and meet Max for a moment. Okay. And they had a little small talk. They showed that small talk in the video, and I was waiting for him to say something about sim racing or iRacing. Remember, this is the director of iRacing. That's one of Dale Jr.'s titles. He said nothing to Max about sim racing, nothing. And so what he did later in the week on the Dale Jr. download, he said, "You know what? I had a great opportunity to talk to Max about sim racing and say something to him, but I missed that opportunity."
You can't tell me that he could not get a hold of his phone number and give him a call. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He could do that.
I'm pretty sure he could just tweet or X to Max directly, and he probably would get through, or to someone on Red Bull.
Well, I'm sure Max has already heard this, since it's basically a part of the media now.
Max doesn't like the media. I don't think he's heard anything from the media recently.
But like I said, Dale is a spokesman for iRacing in a way, with his involvement. So, yeah, to hear it directly from him, I think is pretty cool.
I think Dale humbles himself sometimes more than he is. Like, I think he wants to be such a common Joe out there that it's, something like this where he's around a big superstar. Dale is just as big a superstar as Max is.
Yeah, it's just I think he is still inherently shy, and you still get that at times, the way that he carries himself. And yeah, I think you're right.
No, when he was at the F1 Miami, he was in full fan mode. I mean, that's why he didn't bring up sim racing. He was just like, "I'm enamored, world champ, dude."
And that was his first time going to an F1 race too. So, what if he's 5 or 10 races down the road? Maybe he's more comfortable there too, right?
Well, Mike, is Carl Sampson the same guy you've been talking about, or is this a second person hitting this achievement?
So, great question, David. We have a video here from Nick Nebon about a iRacer named Carl Sampson, who has won the Alien Award. Okay, so if you go in iRacing, you have the awards. There's one called Alien, I think, which means you win in every car in iRacing. Now, that's a little different than what we were talking about before, which was win in every series in iRacing. I don't know. Is it the same?
The fact that he's got driven 135 cars and 187 tracks with 155 series.
It's kind of the same thing. I don't know. So I put up the link, David, for you to look at the series challenge right below the video. And you can see there are a few gaps as you scroll down.
Looks like he's pretty good in the IRX.
Now,
so he's got all the cars, but not all the series.
Right. So if you scroll down, you can see the gold trophy. That means he's won. And so you're looking for gaps. Now, as you go down, like for example, he has not won in the Draft Master Challenge. He has not won in the SK Modified Open. He's won in the SK Modified Fixed, but not the Open. So he's close. Like he could go through here and finish this off easily, I'm sure.
I think you're being a little picky.
I can't tell you how hard this is. I've been working on this for a month or longer, guys. Just trying to get a finish in every series, okay? And I still have one series left, and I won't be able to do it till week 1 of the next season when my license has progressed in dirt road. When I get that one finish, I do have a finish in every series. So I'm almost there. But look, getting a finish in every series is quite different than winning in every series that like Robbie did. What was his name? Robbie?
It's Robbie Swan, and I'm looking
Robbie
at
Swan, right. And so this guy, he's almost there. I mean, and he's obviously won in every car, which gives you the Alien Award in iRacing that Nick Nebon was celebrating. I mean, kudos to Carl Sampson. I mean, I'm impressed.
Would you believe of all the... I think I'm over 100 wins. I've never won in a fixed NASCAR series. I was just checking my stuff. I was like, I can't believe I haven't won in a fixed NASCAR series.
Everyone should look at this website. It's challenge.duncanwatts.com. You can just type in a driver name, your own name. You scroll down and you see the list of series.
I don't even have a podium. What the
Now, put in my name and you'll see how many series I've gone through, Greg. So when I started this challenge, it was pretty blank. I had a lot of blanks, and I have really filled out the roster, as they say. Now, I don't have wins, but that'll be kind of the next thing is I'm going to go back and try to plug in. I'm going to do the easiest ones I think I can win in and try to win it and to see how many I can get.
Do they still have a Volkswagen Beetle series? Oh, I guess that's the Beetle Light. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of something else.
All right, we'll hit the next item. We have a YouTube stream, essentially, from Griffin2448. And essentially, it's a stream of his race, and it was his last race in the Legends cars at Charlotte Legacy.
All right, Charlotte Legacy is going away next week. And 5 or 6 others. I thought Phoenix was on the list, but it's not. It's definitely Charlotte. But this is the Charlotte with the yellow wall. And so that yellow wall is certainly reminiscent of a lot of races I've done there.
it's just a yellow wall.
But
Yeah, it's not a yellow brick road, man.
But what about the green wall at Kentucky? It's all about the wall color.
I mean, it's
like that old wool blanket with holes in it. You know, it's so comfy. And
so when Darlington, went back and did the red and white stripes, when Richmond did the same thing some years ago. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. Again, I'm of the notion that I want the most up-to-date tracks. And again, I think if you were to start digging back through this stuff, you would find how little activity is on some of these tracks.
Now, here's a question, just with go with the topic we had before. Do any of these tracks that are disappearing, they obviously are being replaced by newer versions of it, right? We're not actually losing a track, right? So it doesn't take away from the amount of tracks you can try and get through, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're getting an updated Charlotte.
well, what about configurations like the Charlotte Legends Oval or those kind of things?
When's the last time you ran the Legends Oval?
So last comment, it wasn't mine. I think it was the guy in the video. He said, you know what? The same week we get the Gen 4, car from, 2003, they take away Charlotte from 2008. Like Wouldn't we
Okay.
want a track and a
No,
car
we
to
would
match
not.
up?
They don't match up.
The timeline does.
There is a sector of the community that is never ever going to be happy about anything.
I'm not happy about being not happy. Does that count?
Get over it.
That's pretty
There's definitely-
meta. That's pretty meta. So you're meta unhappy.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, this is just one video, but there's definitely a few people that are lamenting about the track loss. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
It ultimately comes down to there's only so many resources, and where do you want them to go? And so if it's going to take away from something else, I'm perfectly fine with it. And just be careful about saying there's somebody who's always not happy with everything. What it is we always see the people who are unhappy, right? But that's why everything that happens is going to have somebody who doesn't like it. You can't please everybody, but that doesn't mean that there's a person out there who hates everything.
I think they're going to please everybody with this next story, David.
Well, it is a profile, or not a view profile. It says view profile right there on the page because it's an Instagram post picture. iRacing official, and they're showing a picture of the Monte Carlo and the Ford. And so we know we've been requesting it. The Gen Cut 4 cars arrive next week. And I know that in chat, somebody posted somebody already complaining about the fact that there weren't the other two models.
Which,
Well, where's
That
the
was funny.
Toyota?
hold on.
Toyota.
We've been talking about this for what, a year and a half now? We knew it was just the two cars that got scanned.
There was a guy on Twitter asking, "Where's the Toyota and where's the Pontiac?" And
Toyota didn't come in till late in that generation, like late.
Well, and then there's the whole.
No, did they even? We weren't even. We were past Gen 4 when Toyota came in, I believe.
Was
Yeah,
Toyota the Gen with the COT?
COT.
Okay, so this is only the three makes. Dodge, because Dodge was in it, because I remember NASCAR 2003, you had the three makes.
Yeah, Pontiac too.
so wait, now with them bringing in these two makes, Chevy and Ford, to me that's enough. They don't need anything else. This is enough.
Dodge.
Yeah. Are we going to get a Dodge?
I wonder if we get the Dodge when maybe they become more involved with actual motorsports coming back here, because we got a story going back with that eventually here coming up. But
I don't think you're going to get a Dodge.
No, I think the two we got is fine. But then again, there's the people that are already complaining because the decals are going to be stamped, and we can't go create a 2003 Alfa Romeo Cup car that never existed or some other ludicrous thing.
I can't create a Buick.
So let's talk about the good here. I've been saying to my crew, this might be my new car, like the one that I run on the regular. And iRating be damned. Look, my iRating is already toast from all my bad luck, and so I'm not worried about that in one iota. I'm going to buy this car and I'm going to run it on a regular basis.
Can I say one thing? It's actually two things, actually. Horsepower and a 4-speed transmission. That's what I want.
Well,
Yeah.
I just hope that the community supports it. And I have a very bad feeling that it's going to be super hot for a short time, and then it will not become, because look, at the end of the day, most people want to race the same thing they see on TV, and you want to race the newest thing. As great as this is, and I am not trying, I'm not sound like a Debbie Downer. I just have a bad feeling that this will get hot for maybe a season, and then the participation will dwindle like most everything else does.
No, he's true. He's talking truth, because the same thing happened when they put out the 87. So I said the same thing about the 87. I said, this is my car. This is going to be so awesome. Everyone's going to run it. This is going to be like the place to race. And it was just like Brad said. It was hot for a while, and now there's just a select group running the car.
It has to have... So this will probably be a 12-week series. that follows
Yeah.
the normal week. So we'll just have what is it going to be, an A car? You think?
Every hour. No, C.
See,
It'd be cool if it was the winter series too instead of the 87s.
That's a
it's
possibility.
probably going to be this year.
I would like that.
Well, one thing I can tell you that really would not help participation is this guy's idea, which is basically craps in the face of all the rants we had over the last couple of weeks about not having races split. He's wanting the split size and low participation series to be increased.
So then you get killed by guys with huge I rating, and then you always lose I rating then?
Yes, but you'd have like 40 guys in the race. I mean, how much better is it to have 40 guys in the race and then you get lapped because you're 3 seconds off the pace? But it'd be better because it'd be more guys.
Look, I like a lot of people in a race. I mean, that's why I like NIS over A Open. A Open's 20-something drivers. And then NIS is 30-something drivers. And that's a difference. And it makes a difference in how the races play out. And so I kind of like the idea, actually.
Yeah, but Mike, look at the data, the reason why you like that. You're within a 200, probably a 200, maybe a 2 to 500 I rating difference in that. You could be 5 to 6,000 different I rating
Jump
in a road.
in it.
Yeah. On a take an afternoon on a Saturday or a Sunday, jump in a GT3 car and get put into a European server, and then you've got a 3 and 4,000 I rating swing. It's not fun.
You could finish third and still lose a lot of I rating or whatever.
So
I don't want to make it sound like I rating is a big thing, but that's the reason that these splits work so well. They do is it keeps you with the people that you're supposed to be racing around. It's not the people that you'd never be in a race with that person unless it was just luck of the draw one night, like, or you have these big fields. I'm not, I don't want to race against a 4,000 I rating person. David and I do that when we run the majors all the time with some of the guys that we race in there. It's not fun. You get your ass handed to you. Sorry for the word language, but yeah.
So I need to read we kind of started talking about it. Let's read the post. It says, I think all series with little to no participation, like Spec Racer, Global, Fanatec Global, or SCB, should have at least 40 grid spots. So, for example, there aren't too many splits where there's 24 drivers signed, but one with 24. I wouldn't hurt anybody. The races would be so much fun. The victories in these series would be more valuable. And then he put up a poll asking, is this a good idea? Yes or no?
So it's the same problem that we discussed with the adding additional time slots. When you dilute the strength of the field, that's the issue. Again, I don't. No one wants to get in and race against somebody that is an alien. It's not fun. The whole purpose of iRating is to, like Greg said, is to group you with like ranked people. I would rather have 2 splits that are closer in iRating so that you at least have an opportunity. Let me tell you, man. Like Greg said, you get into a race and you look up and the top guy is 3,000 or 4,000 I rating ahead of you. I'm done at that point. I'm like, yep. All I'm gonna do is just try to finish because it's there's no chance of me winning.
All right. Well, it's a bad idea. Plain and simple. Let's move on. We've got Coenda's Purple Lounge. Haven't heard this name in a while because they're not really around iRacing anymore, I don't believe. Correct?
They were on the roadside. They were very competitive, and I think they ended up winning one of the classes for the IMSA series beginning of the year.
Is it one of the ones where Williams wasn't able to cheat?
Stop
So
it.
this is the new build, David, of their Purple Lounge
Sounds funny.
in preparation for this weekend's 24-hour Nürburgring. And so they're definitely racing. Everything is new in this. If as you go through the pictures, you can see they have new rigs, they have new computers, they have new sim equipment. They have basically 4 quadruple monitor setups. They have a lighting rig above them with, professional style lighting, for video. Very impressive. Gotta love the Sebelt cockpit that they're using, that new Sebelt.
I was trying to wonder why they had 2 numbers on, duplicate numbers, but I guess obviously if they're doing endurance racing, it's to each one has their own PC.
Looks like they got the F Core cube control wheel.
That PC is pretty nice.
Oh, there's a lot of money in this.
Heiskenveld Ultimates, it looks like.
So who's funding this?
Well, if you look over on the sides of the Purple Lounge, I see big Sebelt sim, banners. So maybe, they're getting sponsorship from the sim equipment guys. I don't know. But yeah, who's paying the rent? Who's paying the electric bill? That kind of stuff, right?
All right, this next one's got to be yours, Mike.
Yeah, we had a post in the forums from Billy R. Roberts. He said, I was doing every car and keeping a personal scoreboard in regards to the Mount Washington hill climb. He said, I fell off as of late, but he posted his log of his lap times, and he's got 31 different cars that he has taken up the hill and the time for each car. So it's kind of an interesting look to see like which car is faster, versus another. And interestingly, the fastest one is the Lotus 79. And then the Subaru rally car is the second fastest.
It's weird that the Lotus 79 would be the fastest thing up that hill for him.
Super light.
The other one that kind of threw me was the Porsche Mission electric car is 5th fastest.
Electric cars are fast. They just can't go very far.
I'm surprised they had enough battery to get all the way up the hill. Maybe there was a charging station halfway, so maybe that's a cut into the time.
And then the Lotus 49 is 6th fastest. That thing has no downforce at all.
It's all suspension though. Like that would be perfect going over all the stuff there.
He hasn't run the F1 car yet, has he? Or an LMP1?
Has he done?
Or the GTP?
He hasn't done any of the Fords, like the Formula cars on there.
He's got the Ford 16 on there, the 1600.
You got to skip Barber.
Has he done the was it the Super?
I don't see it, no. But that, now if I get bored with my series challenge, I might start my own little log and try to see if I can get some times in various cars going up the hill. I haven't really done that. I've experimented with a few cars, but I usually just stay in the Beetle Rally when I try it.
I got a different challenge. Learn the ring without the racing line.
I've been trying that, and it's been tanking my rating. I've been keep wrecking.
Can you set a hotkey for the line?
No, you have to set it ahead of time.
Okay, couldn't remember.
Would be a smart idea though, to have it be able to.
All right, it's time to talk Coke Series. It looks like Steven Wilson has returned to the victory lane.
Yeah, Steven Wilson got the win over Tucker Mentor. I didn't get a chance to watch this. But, back at Kansas, I tried to skim through most of the article. Sounds like we had a pretty wild start to the race, which is not uncommon. This ended, I think, in 2 overtimes. The final one, I believe. Who was it? I think Brad stayed out. I think took the restart, but got shuffled back really quick. I think ended up having an accident. But yeah, Wilson grabs the win. So we had some more information that came out later today in regards to the race. But I think this is his fourth win. Yeah, fourth win of the season. This puts him atop the playoff standings after Kansas. Tucker Minter second with 3 wins, followed by Bobby Zielinski with 1, Colin Keister with 1, and then Zach Novak with no wins. As we look at the series segment 2 final standings after race 4, it's got Steven Wilson leading, Tucker Minter, Bobby Zielinski, Casey Kerwin, and then Parker White in 5th.
Yeah, Steven Wilson and Tucker Minter really have separated themselves from everybody else with their 4 and 3 wins. I think you got to say one of those two are the favorites.
But does it get you anywhere in the next round, or you just have to be on top of the points when you finally go for the playoffs, right?
I think it's about being hot and just consistent. I mean, Tucker Minter is just on fire.
Wins are worth bonus points, and winning the segment is also worth bonus points, right? 5 playoff points. Yeah, 5 playoff points.
Still have that like they do in NASCAR, then,
Mm-hmm. And it was 5 playoff points for each segment. Zach won the first segment, and Wilson has the second segment. And you mentioned that other information, and this has been a hot topic all day in the chat. We have an eNASCAR penalty report. I'll go ahead and read the release. During race 9 at Kansas Speedway, driver Blake McCandless, the number 8, was found to have intentionally caused a caution, violating sportsman and competition rules. Following a thorough review, he received a 1-race suspension from the series and a 1-week suspension from all multiplayer sessions.
Who finally woke up in that series to finally start penalizing something that goes on in it?
Look, I mean, this is not the okay. So I'll give you my 2 cents. This is not a penalty that should have been given, in my opinion. It's not egregious. It's not like he spun down to the inside and he came back up and parked above the line so the caution would come out. It's nothing like that. He actually gets hit by another car. The car is out of control. He does everything he can to save it. This is my view of it from above. He locks it down eventually and barely just taps the wall and saves the car. Isn't that what we're supposed to do when we get in a wreck, is save the damn car? He backs up a little bit. He pulls away so he doesn't have to run into the wall, and the caution comes out. Are you kidding me? This isn't a penalty.
Something else obviously happened that we are not privileged to.
The stewards tend to be stupid.
No, they use NASCAR or iRacing to run the cautions, right? It's not an admin throwing them, right?
Correct.
So here's the thing. You don't want it to be a problem. Use an admin to throw the freaking caution, and then you don't have to throw the caution for him.
It still would have been a caution. He was sideways in the middle of the track.
Yeah, and if you've got, then you open up a whole other can of worms.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you're damned if you do. Like, this goes with what you said earlier. There's always someone going to complain or whatever about it, but there's so much worse that has always happened in this series year by year. And this has got to be, one of the first penalties that we've seen out of this series?
Yeah, for everyone that has Mike's opinion that it didn't look intentional, there's somebody who is on the other side. We got quite a few teammates who say it looked pretty intentional. We've got tweets from some well-known real-life racers who also drive on iRacing that said the same thing, that it looks like he pretty much did it on purpose. If I was judging it, other than using telemetry, it's not definitive. It looks suspicious to me, but not definitive, like not beyond a reasonable doubt.
But they have telemetry, and they're going to use it. Same thing they do in the Cup Series. You know, when somebody right hooks somebody, what's the first thing they do? They go back and look at the steering trace and try to see what he did.
But then they gotta calculate if it's the fast enough speed, if the steering trace. It's all judgment still. You can have telemetry all you want. If you don't know how to judge through that telemetry and be wrong about it or stupid about it, it doesn't make a difference.
Look, with all the wrecking that happens on iRacing, this is not egregious. This is nothing. This should have never even happened, in my opinion. It's just crazy that they even looked into it, in my opinion. If you look at the overhead view of it, yeah. And so look, there's people in the chat, in the comments that say, well, he got back on the gas instead of locking down on the brake, and that's why it's intentional. And I don't know if I agree with that.
But who's to say if he got back on the gas, he doesn't put it in the wall and then it spins out because it hits the wall hard?
He did. He got on the gas and turned right.
Yeah.
Right, and then he locked it down. Yeah, because I think he stabbed the gas because the car was starting to come back around straight. He stabbed the gas, hoping it would pick up straight, and it went too far. Car's spinning around, so then he gets on the brakes and locks it down.
We've all had that on the straightaways where the left front all of a sudden digs in sometimes and then hooks you back right if you're turning that way.
Especially in this car.
Again, I'm going to say that there's probably information that we are not privy to, whether it be team chat, communication, radio, something, I don't know. Look, it's no different than years ago when Dale Earnhardt Jr. spun intentionally at Bristol. Would have been fine if he hadn't said basically over the radio, yeah, I spun on purpose. I mean, it's, again, we don't know what was said. That's the thing. Look, it is what it is. I mean, I ain't got a dog in the fight, but it is what it is. And if they've deemed him to have been intentional, then it's intentional.
I didn't notice. We didn't put up do we have his tweet? He tweeted about this too. I saw it.
So there's a comment on this post from him, Blake McCandless, and this is what he says. What this post fails to mention is that there is an appeal process that Junior Motorsports and I are currently involved in at the moment. I categorically reject the notion that I intentionally spun to bring out this caution, and I hope that this will be shown to light in the appeal process that is still ongoing.
Now I have to bring up the legitimacy of this. Junior is an owner of a team, and he's also part of the sanctioning body of iRacing. So is this going to be a Penske kind of thing here with JR Motorsports?
Yes. Yeah, there's a tweet from Blake as well that he shows his replay, which actually shows his throttle inputs, brake input, and steering. And I don't know if it helps his case by showing that, but that's where you can see where he stabbed the gas briefly. He went back to the brake after that. But in my opinion, look, if the car is wrecked, you're spinning out, it shouldn't matter what I do with my pedal and brake. I'm trying to save my damn car. And that's what he did. He saved it. He kept it off the wall. He might be able to finish the race because of how he drove that.
So the rule that is cited is for intentionally stopping on the racing surface. So, like Bobby had said in the chat, he took his sweet time to get going again. And we know, all of us know, there's a certain threshold when somebody's sitting on the track before it throws a yellow.
So you're saying, okay, so Bobby is saying he comes to a stop and he takes too long to put it in reverse and back up. He waits that extra 3/4 of a second that it takes for the caution to come out.
I don't know, but I'm just telling you that's the rule that's cited.
Maybe that is it.
Well, we'll see how the appeal process goes, but let's let that horse stay dead. Never knew who will show up in the lobby is the next text, and this is why iRacing is king. So we've got standings, and the highlighted driver is Angelo Moranti, but who's on here that we should be paying attention to?
Kimi.
I thought it was Julian Colbert.
Kimi is a F1 driver, guys. Antonelli. Greg knows who I'm talking about. Do you, Greg? What team is he on?
Mercedes.
Williams. Mercedes.
He just signed a extension too. It sounds like he's an up and comer. I think Connor Zilic was raced with him as well.
In kart,
and he said that the next big thing would be Kimi Antonelli, in his opinion, on that side.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. You know, you get into an iRace and wow, there's an F1 driver in here.
Was it anywhere near after a race or anything like that? Is there going to be the crowd like that goes after Verstappen?
I sent Max Verstappen a friend request, and he never approved it.
That's okay. There's plenty of guys on our team that I still haven't approved yet either.
Ooh.
that's true.
So you're saying you're as big as Max?
No, I'm just saying it's really easy to overlook it on the way that the website.
Yeah,
has it.
You don't ever know you get a request now.
I like the old system.
I agree, but with everybody that has not accepted one, we have said something multiple times about it, and they still don't get accepted.
Sorry, Donnie.
All right, next up, we have a conspiracy theorist photo. All right, it's just one of those fuzzy photos, low quality, not really strong evidence.
No, this was just taken with a picture the last time that Dodge was in NASCAR with a camera. That was...
That's how old it is, yeah.
Well, look, so there's a forum post, and you got to read the commentary behind it. He said, this started popping off last night. Appears they have a finished model. So, hashtag, will it make the patch?
No.
It won't make the patch next week? Oh,
No.
You're not even going to race it, so why do you care? I don't see you running Dodge. You run Toyota everything.
So what we're talking about is there was a video put out. I forget exactly the details of it. I think I saw it too, but in the background of this video was a Dodge NASCAR truck. And so somebody was saying, oh, this is the first sighting of that as they're coming back to NASCAR.
Well, go ahead, Red.
Well, they're expected to return next year, so I anticipate there should be an announcement here probably within the next few weeks.
Well, and I posted they're announcing that they're bringing back or keeping the V8 Hemi models in the pickup trucks now too as well. So that's why they're probably going to announce or bring this out and have these all together with their new Ram pickup trucks for next year.
Yeah, I mean, this just makes the most sense for them to come back into the truck series. All of them use a crate motor, so all you're having to do is do the body as far as for prep. I mean, I would say probably within 2 years, I expect them back in the Cup series.
And Xfinity.
I would be shocked if they're not.
And they'll probably have all of Jordan's charters, won't they?
Somebody will.
Why do we have to start? Don't start it.
All right, next up, one thing that I know is going to happen next week after the build week is the first thing Brad's going to do is go jump in the Super Formula and run it around the track.
I don't know.
The Rainmaster.
So we got a content tease because week 13 is coming, but it's Super Formula is getting rain tires next week.
These actually look pretty cool. These cars are actually really nice looking in the rain.
So we have IndyCar has rain tires, right?
No, not yet.
How does Super Formula get it before IndyCar? That's my question.
IndyCar gets in this build. It's in this build.
Yeah, I thought it was coming, wasn't it?
So that's cool. So
hey, there's a podcast that talks about this.
So
that's my line. You can't use that.
So when you look at,
I would say that he should listen to the podcast, but he's on it.
yeah, I was asking about Phoenix being retired. Like, man, if there was a podcast that talked about that, maybe I'd know. But look, as I've gone through the series challenge, what I've learned is the Formula series, Formula cars or Formula License B series is Super Formula and IndyCar. Those are the two options. That's it.
Are they? I meant to ask you. Are they going to change the criteria for these series to win it in wet and dry condition too now? So that makes it more challenging.
I would think so because this is the B series. I would think they would add the option of it being able to be rain. It's not like it's a D.
I think you missed his
Yeah,
question.
he missed what I was talking about. I was talking about your challenge there to win in everything. Now you got to win on every type of like being wet and dry.
No, they don't differentiate that.
All right, we have a lot of Sim Gaming Expo news. First, just a reminder, we have a discount. IRLP 10 will get you 10% off your tickets. And there's going to be a ton of exhibitors there. They just keep rolling in and keep rolling in. We've got RR Designs. What else do we got?
So this is Rogue Racing. This is we talked about the last couple shows with that the Moza wheel. With the
The solid gold wheel.
Yeah, the gold wheel last week.
Someone's gonna walk out with the gold wheel from there.
Let's have a raffle for it or something.
And then we've got Gray's Dynamics. It's going to be there. So he's a YouTuber. Watches stuff. He does some okay stuff. Does a lot of stuff with VRS. He's a content creator for them. So it'd be nice to meet him and talk to him.
Yes, we've talked about his videos on our show before, for sure. So I know who this guy is.
Next up, we have Zach B Racing.
Streamer. I haven't catched his stuff, but I'm trying to catch up with some of these people that I haven't seen before and see what their content's all about. But yeah, Zach B Racing.
Yeah, another streamer is B Roy.
I look at this every time I see B Roy. I'm like, it's B-roll, like, you know, it's a film term, but B-roll.
That's roll footage that you throw in, like extra footage with voiceovers and stuff like that. Then we've got simbyracers.com. They design cockpits and accessories.
I'm so kind of surprised we haven't talked about them before. Maybe we have. It doesn't ring a bell, though. And so I checked out their website. Yeah, they do have some nice stuff.
You go to their website, the first thing on there is the F-Core Evo.
If you scroll down, you'll see they have turnkey sim rigs, 80/20 style, but they got their logo on the back panel. So, yeah.
All right, we have an announcement that the Skip Barbula Formula Series is returning in 2025. Is this the one where the winner gets a chance at a real-life ride?
I see $500 million on the line. Yes, and it will translate into a real-world Skip Barber Formula Race Series. So it kicks off June 20 through the 22nd. That's the hot lap and then the race of June 22nd, 6th at Sebring. But there's 6 races.
It's $20 to do the hot lap. So again, this does cost.
What's the idea behind get the $20 to just get rid of the riffraff, or?
I don't know. Registration for each hot lap qualifier is $20. Can be paid at whatever the link is. It's right there. So again, I mean, it's look. If you're good, there's the opportunity to win a year's worth of racing. I don't see where $20 is a whole lot of money.
I always find it odd that they're running the F4 car, but it's called the Skip Barber. But yeah.
I don't think we have the appropriate formula car that they're currently using, I think.
You saw our skip. The Skip Barber was updated recently, wasn't it? 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I believe they run an open wheel car that we may not have. I'm not sure.
All right, well, it's time to talk events. We got the Majors 24 coming up in June, which that's this month, isn't it, Greg?
Sorry, I was checking something there. So yeah, we got the Majors 24. Me, you, and Tom are going to be entering in this.
Yeah, I'm hunting for a fourth driver too. I'm hitting up some people, and I've got a question out to a guy that I've been racing a lot with in the IMSA series to see if he's got a team or not.
So it's all the normal cars that would compete from the IMSA series. So this pre-qualifying starts the deadline is June 20th. I guess it starts the race week of the 14th. Obviously, the race is on June 21st at 9 a.m. I'm guessing Eastern time on that?
Yes.
Yeah, the website actually translates to your time when you're
Okay.
looking at the website.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, we're still toying with whether or not we're going to get a GT3 team together or not yet.
Dynamic weather. Is this the one we're talking about? It was going to be all rain.
Well, it says at the top, "Welcome to Zeus's Revenge." So we've missed a wet race last year, and this year we're going to make up for it with Zeus's Revenge. The weather will be varied and intense, running the gamut of possibilities.
But there was a post on the Discord, or got an email or something saying that it may not be as bad as everybody thinks. You're gonna have periods of sun, you're gonna have periods of rain, but they said they're gonna try to limit it to where it would not be unrealistic.
They actually have, they're showing the registered teams at the bottom here. It's actually pretty split between all the GTPs, LMP2s, and the GT3s. It's not bad.
Yep. One thing that's a little bit different with this, you're not split by iRating, you're split by your average pre-qualify. So everybody on the team has to pre-qualify, and then your top three set your average will set what split you're in. The top 4 splits and possibly the top 6 splits will have full course cautions. The rest of the splits will have live stewards. They have a whole online system where you can file protests and get relatively immediate response when there's been an egregious.
There are about 5 or 6 splits already right now with amount registered teams.
I think the last year they had 11 splits.
Still got lots of time.
Oh yeah, it's 2 weeks. They'll hit 11 splits easily. And Brad, we also have the Nürburgring 24. Or should I throw this one to Mike since that's his specialty?
Well, I do want to talk about that. BOP has been released, of course, because we're so close to the race, and people are up in arms in the forums.
Well, it's not up in arms; they're losing their mind.
Yeah, so sometimes I get email alerts whenever somebody posts in a particular thread, and so I had like 30, 40 emails, and I showed you guys a video as I clicked through them of everyone just raising hell about the BOP being so bad. And the problem everyone's complaining about is the BMW is apparently faster than everybody else.
Well, it has a 7-kilogram weight penalty and a 2.5 horsepower power adjustment. So are they saying that's not enough?
Well, I did dig into it, but like Brad said, there's a lot of noise about it, and I saw people tagging Greg West and Greg, this is all bad, that kind of thing, and yeah, and they haven't budged it from they haven't came back and changed it from the initial announcement.
I think it's the GT3 BMW. because
Which is also still the most. No, the Mercedes is getting nerfed.
it's
nerfed
not,
more.
but from the original BOP, nothing changed with the BMW, and the BMW was clearly the fastest in the first half of the week's testing, I guess. And that's the frustrating part, is that the fastest car is staying the same, but everybody else was penalized. Everything else changed.
Right. That's correct. That's what I was seeing. Yep.
Look, again, we've talked about this. I think this really just affects a very small number of people. It doesn't matter what car I get into. I'm going to be within the same, probably 4 to 6 or 7 tenths, maybe. It's never going to be much better than that. So, this is this affects the elite people, and I just don't think for the most of the service, this has a whole lot of bearing on it.
And these same kind of arguments happen in in real life. They're always fighting over who should be getting the BOP. They wonder every practices if they are.
That's why they went to torque
sandbagging.
Yeah, but that's why they went to the torque sensor, so that nobody could play the games of going out and sandbagging anymore like they used to.
I mean, it's the Nürburgring.
Like, yeah, we're not talking tenths. We're talking seconds.
That's like, I mean, its probably biggest advantage is probably that long straightaway. Probably is where it's getting its most advantage, right? Is where it would pull away. But yeah, unless they get like an extra lap or something of fuel or something, drivers can make up the difference. I think for it. It's the straightaway that probably is the biggest extra there.
Additionally, what's the number one predictor of how well you finish in an endurance race?
So
stay out of the garage.
Gotta finish first.
So look, I'm Christian Schalliner. Maybe I don't know if that's the right guy, but I'm Christian Schalliner. I've gone through all the cars. I've made the decision about the BOP. Or, whoever at iRacing makes that decision. Somebody has to make that call. So you make the call, Greg West publishes it, and then the community burns you down saying you got it wrong. Are you second guessing yourself? Are you like, did I do it wrong? Are they right? What is your takeaway?
No. Is it the community or is it a few squeaky wheels?
No, here's the other question I have. How do they... I know in real life how they would do it, but on iRacing, how do you, do they just, I know you're saying Christian Challenger might test all these things and then determine, or whoever it might be. Could they not just run a program running the car at an optimal speed there around the track and kind of dictate what it would be? I don't know. It's obviously, because it's virtual, it's a lot probably easier to do something like that, but couldn't you determine it a lot easier from that type of stuff?
From what I understand, they're manually running laps, real driver in a car, and just doing it the old-fashioned way. I don't know. I was just thinking, it would be a blow to your psyche, maybe, if you're the guy setting the BOP and then you get a bunch of people, saying you got it wrong.
A BOP setter is always going to have somebody saying it's wrong, though.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. I mean, and this is the problem when you get into trying to do BOP for every race. I mean, if you take the whole thing with endurance racing and sports car racing is there's tracks where certain cars are going to have a benefit and there's tracks where certain cars are not going to have a benefit. Over the course of the season, it works itself out. But when when you're trying to BOP every single race, you're never going to get it right. I mean, I'm reading through the forums, some of the posts here, and one of the guys brings up a perfect, position. Unless you're in the top 3 splits, this doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Again, your average iRacer cannot tell the difference in any of this.
You just the optics might end up being in those top couple splits, like you said. There'll probably be a lot more BMWs or whatever it is, right?
So let's roll reverse back to IMSA this year. Porsche GTP wins the first 4 races of the season. Is the BOP wrong, or are they just executing better?
Good call.
I mean, what's some of the talk we've had about Kyle Larson? Is Kyle Larson that good, or is it just the days where he's good, everybody else screws up?
I don't know how to answer that one with a smart. I don't know how to answer that with a smart ass comment that I wanted to.
It's because it's a good question, and it's a legit rhetorical
It's worded
question.
okay. It's not. It's worded saying that it feels like he kind of didn't mean it the way he worded it though. Like is Max or Larson's only winning when people screw up. It's not that.
No,
He also wins because he's good.
He does, but if you look at some of the races that he wins, it's because 3 or 4 other people have taken themselves out of contention.
True. Well, because the other races he takes himself out of contention.
All right, so wrapping up events this week in iRacing. Nothing outside the Nürburgring. Do have the Radical SR8 Cup is back on track. This is the Prodigy passes that are available, and the Asphalt Late Model Tour is back in action as well. Kind of a tame week.
That's the old Radical, because the other one's the S10, isn't it? Or the 10, right?
I don't know.
I feel like that's the old Radical. I could be wrong.
SR8.
Okay, podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out the Discord. Get involved in the discussion. Fun stuff going on over there. And of course, our show notes at iRacersLounge.com. We're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. And visit iRacersLounge.shop to get your merchandise today.
All right, how did we do in fantasy this week? It looks like we have a homer winner this time.
He didn't say anything about it this week. I was surprised.
Yeah, so the Cup Series rolled into Nashville this past week, and coming away with the win in the Fantasy League was Bobby Jonas with 248 points, followed second by Matt Robb, 40. Third was Fat Boy 1990, Tyler Williamson. Nice job. Fourth, Res Dog. And then tied for fifth was Drake G36 and Speed Tape Racer. Somewhat, somewhat of just a kind of a normal Nashville race, concrete track. I think the racing was better last year when it was in the afternoon. It was miserably hot and sunny, but they ran this one at night. I mean, it was okay. It was, it's just a kind of a typical race. Restarts were exciting. You get that little lull in the middle, and then it got exciting a little bit there towards the end. But it wasn't bad. I think the Xfinity and the Truck Series races were better, but that's somewhat normal.
The way the tires ended up wearing, there ended up being a lot of tire dust that kind of took out the second lane.
Yeah, that's been it's whatever Goodyear has changed, something with the polymer. And I think I read that it had to do with something with, green initiatives. These tires, they don't marble up anymore. You don't get marbles, you get dust. I can remember back in the 90s going to Richmond and sitting on the backstretch and literally getting hit in the head with marbles that would get thrown up off the cars.
That explains
and it just
so
chunks.
much.
Like big old round pieces of rubber, right?
Yeah. I mean, you get a chunk of rubber, strips of rubber, because it would that's what it did. It rubbered up. And it's why you had marbles. So now it's just dust.
When anybody says they've lost their marbles, we just need to send them to you because you found them.
I was kind of waiting for Ricky to be waiting outside the hauler for somebody, but never happened.
Ricky Recky on the Denny show.
No, when Ricky got wrecked.
Ricky got wrecked.
Ricky got Ricky.
Ricky Recky. Yeah, it was funny.
Freudian slip. So yeah, I don't know. Look, I think both of them have.
No. This is I believe it's like the Larson story. If you're comfortable saying it that easily, it's something you've said in the background other times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they both had a little bit of fault to blame into that. But it just is what it is. I don't care. I want Carson to continue to be Carson.
That used to happen years ago. That racing always used to happen where someone would go down in the corner and then they'd try and pinch on them and then they would get together. So I don't understand why we're all upset about hard racing.
That's how it was at Bristol, in the old Bristol, all the time. The only way you pass anybody was to spin them.
You didn't have to spin them. You just moved them.
The chrome horn with cars that don't have any chrome on them.
All right, how's the standings?
All right, so overall we've got Smiling Ninja in the lead, Mike Wuju in second, third Resdaw, fourth Race Addict, fifth Matt Robb, 40, and a shout out to Tyler Williamson, Fatboy 1990, sitting in eighth. So we head to Michigan this weekend.
Fatboy 1998 loses his charter though, so he's gonna have to be out of the top 10 points.
Easy now. So go to Michigan this weekend. I don't know. It's not going to be super hot. I think it's going to be a fairly nice weekend. I don't know if the racing in real life is as horrible as it is on the sim right now. I don't even want to watch it.
Right? Yeah. I think the story this weekend is everyone's eyes on Tyler Reddick. What is Tyler's response to NASCAR winning finally in the court case? Basically, they removed the injunction that granted these teams their charters for the 2025 season. Does that give Tyler an out? Is he going to be going to another team? I mean,
where
a lot of talk.
Where would he go?
I think the biggest problem it's going to be a huge distraction now, more than it already has been. But this is going to be media topic number one. Every question is going to have to deal with it. It's something that Tyler and Bubba and Denny are going to have to deal with, and then the guys from Rick Ware Racing.
Not Rick Ware, it's Front Row.
Or sorry, Front Row, sorry, my bad. Wrong team, Front Row Racing. So they're going to have to deal with those questions. Is that going to be a distraction for the rest of their season?
2311 has not been running fantastic anyway, so anything's going to be a distraction. So yeah, I think they've won this end of it. I don't know how this all shakes out in the end. Still,
I do think. Sorry, I do think that just thinking that this immediately means that Tyler's leaving is jumping the gun. Wait, just because that clause happens to be in there, you got to have a place to go. I mean, why did Kyle Busch already sign with RCR? There's nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah, there's no other seat out there. Who's he gonna replace? That's gonna put him in a better situation than he is right now.
He might have to think about his future. Is more of what's going to be happening probably.
Again, where do you go?
So I was just thinking he would trade into somebody's seat with sponsorship because he brings more sponsorship than somebody else who brought sponsorship.
So find a better seat. You tell me what the better seat is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially that doesn't have sponsorship.
Hocevar over to the 48 and then Reddick into the 77.
You're not getting rid of Byron yet.
You mean Bowman?
Bowman, yeah.
Money talks.
Not going to finish it.
It's not. Nothing's going to happen this season. It's going to. This battle's not over between Denny and NASCAR.
The trial's December 1, so yeah, you're not going to know anything until the holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, I was just about to say Merry Christmas. Denny's out.
Okay, for this first item in hardware, all I'm going to say is it comes from China.
But we got a new cable standard. It's called GPMI. Instead of the HDMI, it's GPMI. And it's a new cable that basically has everything you could possibly want. Network, power, video, data, all at very high speed.
It's pretty cool, to be honest with you. But the amount of buy-in that the rest of the world has to do from manufacturers and all this stuff to make it work is a huge undertaking.
It's happened before with other display standards,
you're
you
saying-
know,
so that-
display port.
Does it have? You said it had network as well.
It's video network, USB, power,
Everything.
So you'd have to get all the major telecommunication companies and all that stuff to get it buy-in too.
Every PC builder. I mean, standard. There's always a battle. This is like politics, big time behind the scenes with when it comes to standards. So, will this, especially because it comes from China, will it end up being able to break into the Western markets or not? It'll be curious to see.
Or how long it takes to get into the Western markets.
Yeah. So USB, HDMI, audio, and internet.
See, that's the one that gets me there. I get the other parts of it, but the internet is such a, like, if you think of, like, how many different providers do you guys have in the States that, and how many different ways do they bring it to your house?
Ooh, well, it's not that. This is, so we're talking about imagine all the wires on the back of your PC, replace all of those with one wire.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, how do all those, like, you get into your house, you get your cable, whatever you got cable internet, you got like different fiber internet. It goes into a box, and that box has to be converted. It's got to be a different type of box in every home. That's got to be converted to have an HDMI, or sorry, the GPMI outlet. And then here in Canada, we have a whole bunch of different like between cable and fiber and all that. Like, it's just, that'd be a huge undertaking.
The output of just about any router, though, is Cat 6. It's almost always network cable.
Right, but I mean, I get what Greg's saying. I mean, you're talking about an industry standard changing to where everything moves to one style plug.
Yeah, like if everything changed and you, like, I don't know who you guys use. Like here in Canada, we have Rogers and Bell as our biggest telecommunication companies. They would have to come into, if this changed over, they would have to come into your home and switch your router box or whatever box the outside cable comes into to have an output that does this, right?
Or you get adapters from at some point, and it depends on, you would only need to do that if the whole PC upgraded. But what the stuff you're describing, though, is going to create resistance for sure.
Does that mean that your graphics cards now have to be designed differently then too to take this stuff?
If they agree.
Right. So the back of your PC would just have this new connector. It wouldn't have all the stuff it has now.
It's good for cable management.
Maybe not, because now how do you know what needs to go into where? Because I know my video cables, I know where they're supposed to go. I guess you'd have to label everything and make sure you've got it all right, because I kind of like the fact that there's different types of connections for different hardware.
Actually,
all right.
Hold on. Sorry, David. The only other thing that I can see is, depending on how you run these type of cables too, if you're running them from like upstairs to downstairs, with that end on it, it's a bigger hole to drill into the floor or something, or to run through things if you're going to run it places too, because it's got an HDMI end, right? It's not the small like internet end or the internet cable end.
We're talking a few millimeters. All right.
No.
What we're not talking about, though, is a few dollars on this next item, Mike.
Yeah, DJ EJ got a video. I finally tried a $15,000 sim racing rig, and shows him on an 80/20 style rig with a Moza wheelbase, Formula rim with a display on it, widescreen monitor. Yeah, looks like he's having fun with it.
Yeah, he went to SimMotion's headquarters. So for those who've been around for a long time, SimMotion's run by Darren Ganges. Used to be with the, it was not the Sim Pit at that point, but it was something else. Can't think of called. But yeah, he went out there and yeah, nice. He's got the Mosin pedal. Well, he ends up, he's using a stronger wheelbase, but he's got full motion too. So, and then whatever the motion that he's got is also has the built-in haptics as well. So he enjoys it. From an immersion standpoint, he said it was really good. He said it was much better on the road side than it was the oval side, which I can understand. It's just much more feedback that comes, from driving a road car versus on an oval. But yeah, I mean, is he going to go spend $15,000? No, but he ends the video by basically saying this is maybe something to to think about at some point. I mean, it's just again. I think I don't think it's going to make you any quicker, and I think most of your professional sim racers will all agree that motion just does not relay very well. I mean, Max has even said that. But from an immersion standpoint, he enjoyed it, and I think from an immersion standpoint, I think it's fantastic.
Did he say which wheelbase or the base that is? It looks like the 12 or the
R12.
60. Yeah, the 12. Okay.
Yeah. He's got an R5, and he said he normally runs that at like 50%, and then even in iRacing, he runs it at like at 3 or something. So he runs very, very light force feedback.
See that? I was at 60 the other day, and I thought that was way too high. So maybe that makes sense.
What have you got, an R12?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm still fiddling with it, though.
All right, Mike, can you tell us about this
You literally
virtual Steam
don't
Deck
even
or
need
Stream
a
Deck?
Yeah, so Stream Deck offers software that you can do a virtual Stream Deck. So unlimited buttons, think about it that way. I mean, you create your button layouts in their little software. And it just can be a pop-up on your screen that you click on with your mouse, and I thought this would be a good idea for some iRacers, maybe on their extra monitor for a few buttons if you don't have a Stream Deck.
Does it work for tablets?
I don't know.
Because that would be better if you could push just touch screen on a tablet.
That's a really good idea.
Watching the video, I mean, it shows it on a separate little monitor, but I think it's just like an extra monitor he has plugged in. He just drags it over there. So what do you think? Is this useful to make a button box on your fourth monitor you click on with a mouse?
I'm guessing you have to pay for the software.
I guess, but I don't know. I'd struggle to get the mouse up there to click on a button while I'm trying to drive and everything else. I'd rather have it easily at my fingertips, but that's just me.
I feel like when you have something like a touch screen, and obviously David doesn't use things that are visual a lot. He just would go by touch for if it has a button box. You want that feel with your finger to find where that button is on it. You don't want to just guess that you're touching the right spot of a touch screen or clicking the right spot on the mouse.
Yeah, that doubles up on Brad's point that looking up to the mouse could definitely cause you to get distracted and wreck. Whereas even though he could sort of look at the Stream Deck, he probably is going to do it more by feel. Wouldn't you say, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, even take the F9, the box in iRacing. I mean, mine's up, but I scroll through it with my button box. I don't ever use my mouse. Trying to use the mouse is completely cumbersome. It's easier for me to use a funky switch and a rotary knob to increase, and then a button just to hit select. That's almost like second nature. Trying to reach down while I'm driving and grab my mouse, and then I got to go look over at the mouse. Do I have the cursor? Have I got the mouse pointer where it's supposed to be? Yeah, I'll wreck the car.
Yeah, I think I want to recommend an actual Stream Deck, not the virtual one. I love mine. I can't tell you how much joy it gives. It just makes things easier to do than they were before.
Yeah, I picked one up, and I'll hopefully have mine installed over the weekend. So Facebook Marketplace, great place to pick up stuff cheap.
That's how I got mine, and I didn't pay full price, so it was nice.
Yep.
Are you getting the enclosure from Sim Sport Gadget?
Yeah, it's already here. It arrived today. Ordered it on Sunday and here on Thursday. Gotta love it. A lot quicker than your. Never mind.
Don't go.
Too
there.
soon?
Don't do it.
Too soon?
Don't do it.
Or definitely too late?
It didn't take 80 days.
All right. Next up, we present a new wheel from VRS. I don't know how new it is actually, but it's a VRS Direct Force wheel. It's got rugged construction and clean design, affordable, even though you can't see the price on the post. Reliable, all substance, no gimmicks, pure performance. All right, no screen, which is fine with me because I don't need it. This is just a single page. I can't see the back to see if it's double pedals. Decent button layout. It's a little bit bare bones, but it'd probably get the job done.
Yeah, I think the story here is it's available now in the USA when apparently it wasn't before.
Yeah, last week we went through the video review of this and the wheelbase by Boosted Media. So, he talked about that it was good. Just remember it's 295 millimeters, which for me is small. I don't think I would do anything smaller than 300. So 295 is it's a little bit small for me.
Okay, is OC Racing is this the Carl Edwards video or is this a different one? Because I watched the Carl Edwards one.
No, this is OC Racing, he's a reviewer of sim equipment.
All right, so that got me a little confused because they both tried out this same thing, didn't they? All right,
Yes,
so OC Racing on the P1 DDX Prime. Tell us about it, Brad.
Yeah, so he got an opportunity to try this at Podium 1. You can see how much movement this thing has. It's crazy. He was doing I guess I don't know what kind of car this is. I don't remember, but yeah, ton of motion. Just has a good time. I mean, the thing looks fantastic. I showed this to the wife, and she's like, "Oh, that's cute." And I think when I came back up, she said it's only $175,000. I said, "Well,
if she's listening to the podcast, he's already bought it." Just so she knows.
Wow, what a footprint it has on the ground. The base for this thing is massive. It looks like it needs 220 volts or something too. It's just it's got that industrial kind of look to it. Wow, impressive.
Honey, I need to rewire the house so that we can have my sim rig in it.
And knock out a wall.
Yes, they build the house around it.
So if you're gonna date Mike, you're not gonna have a dining room and possibly a bedroom.
He's gonna have a cot in the corner and then the sim rig.
This literally would not fit in my space.
I can't imagine what your neighbors would say.
I'd like to see when it gets delivered and he's trying to put it together.
Let's skip down since I already brought it up. We also have Carl Edwards trying out the P1 DDX Prime. And this is pretty interesting. I didn't know how involved he had been in sim racing. Apparently his kids are really into it if you watch both videos.
And yeah, I got the impression that he bought a rig from them. Did you get that impression?
Yeah, he actually, his kids saw, it was when he was still racing, I believe, and they were right next to the Joe Gibbs hospitality tent, and Carl's kids saw the rig and wanted one, and he got one. And apparently one of his kids has been racing with in some league with the Podium 1 guys for quite a while now because they recognize Carl's kid's voice.
Is it just me, or is that field of view just awesome? Like, it just feels perfect.
That's too big. Still too big.
What size are those monitors? Those are like 55s or something, aren't they?
So you're saying the monitors are too big, or are these too close on the field of view?
It's just the scale is too large.
It's not scaled to him.
Correct. That's my biggest thing with these gigantic monitors is it's not scaled properly to the person.
So I have that same problem on my triple 48s where the the window net, the
Feel
interior
like
of the
it
car
before you-
feels too big. But when I'm looking out the window, Brad, at the cars in front of me, they feel the right size.
Yeah, it's I don't know how you I don't know how you ever get to that point where it's a 1-to-1. I don't know if you can in all truth and reality.
You can in VR.
What would be, you'd have to calculate what would make 1-to-1 to try and do it, right?
Yeah, actually in VR, I had to change a setting to make mine scale up a little because you can change the scaling on VR as well, and I didn't know that for a long time. So I was racing in like a car that was just too small. Like I could reach out and touch the right of the car, and I got short arms, and so I learned how to fix that. So boom, yeah, the scaling is important, and when I got it a little bit larger, it just felt more right. All right, now we can work our way back up for those following along. How about this sim to reality? This is another China related item.
So this
Conspit. Yeah,
so
Conspit.
go ahead.
Sorry, Brad. I was going to say the Conspit 290 GP sim racing wheel is actually put in a real race car here for this demonstration. It's a nice looking wheel.
It is. It is. It's a little bit too small, but Conspit does quite a bit of sponsoring in the Fanatec, well, not Fanatec anymore. I'm sorry, GT World Asia series. So they're kind of, I guess, somewhat of a secondary sponsor on a lot of the cars. But yeah, I mean, pretty neat. Looks like it's doing everything that it would do in the sim, and he's turning laps.
All right, this next one is beware of GP scammers. And if you look at the Reddit post, it says I got scammed buying at Micro Santa today, or Micro Center. Love my dyslexia. So what happened here?
They bought a 5090 graphics card and got it home, and it had crossbody backpacks inside of it. No graphics card.
And this was actually store bought.
Store-bought, packaged. Imagine if you open up the box, you're going to have the foam, and you're going to have the cutout to where the GPU is going to be. Well, that's where the packages of the backpacks were. So apparently there were more of these found at that store. So Micro Center did take care of it, but obviously some issues from whoever their supplier is, because they ended up with more than just one of these boxes delivered.
So it's getting supplied to them that way, man.
Some delivery truck had one skid missing or redone.
Yeah, did it happen at the distribution center or through shipping?
Probably came from China.
So is the answer you need to open the box before you leave the store?
Guys, I never would I ever think I would need to.
I just bought my computer build from Micro Center a year ago, last summer, and I spent $4,000 all at once. I didn't think twice about opening up the graphics card box to look to see if it was in there. I didn't even think twice about it, but now I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have.
Well, this is the very first time we've heard of this, so it's probably still pretty rare.
Is it a kudos to the store? Like, the hard part too is proving, like, unless you do an unboxing video like of yourself doing it, how do you prove that that's what you took out of the box too? Like, sometimes the company has to believe your story too, right?
Well, I think when they started getting calls from other people that had bought them as well and had the same thing happen.
Yeah, when it is multiple, but it sucks, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like walking back in the store. Yeah, open this up, and these were in the box. Yeah, sure. No, they really were. Okay, sure.
So the story is just film yourself when you unbox everything from now on.
Can't hurt, can it?
Not really. All right, next up, Track Racer TR120 V2 review. Who did this one, Mike?
We got a simulated driving resource YouTube channel, and he does a nice review of the Track Racer TR120S version 2. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little review. He likes it. Look, I don't know what to say about Track Racer. I mean, you look in Facebook at some of the Track Racer groups, there's some horror stories in there that scare me.
I have never had an issue. I mean, that's the thing that's, again, it's just hit and miss. People get more, there are more complaints about the way that the stuff arrives to their house, and I get it, but I guess Track Racer could do a little bit better job of packaging stuff. But look, they ship everything FedEx ground, which is a disaster to begin with, I believe. So that's the shipping company's issues. But I've never had any delays. You know, I bought my entire rig from them. I've bought multiple pieces since then from them. I have never had an issue with Track Racer. You know, I like this color blue. You know, but again, it's the T slots that are missing on the outside, which I like. So certain things that I've gotten used to. He did make a comment in here that he did like the uprights being, you know, vertical as opposed to the angled, which is becoming such a common thing now. I still just am not a fan of those angled, and that the angled monitor base uprights. I don't know. I don't like it. I prefer the ones that are straight up and down, but that's just me.
I don't know if I'm a fan of it's wider at the back than it is at the front.
Yeah, that's funky looking too. I don't know. Yeah, I would have to see what the dimensions are. If the where it narrows down, if that's the same dimensions as like what I have now, that's fine. And if it flares out on the back, but then again, I don't really see the purpose of it flaring out on the back either, if that makes sense.
I think you're dreaming if it's the same width as what you have. I think it really narrows down is the way I see that.
Well, I'm just trying to think about, you know, with the pedal plate, because they have one of the super beefy pedal plate. I mean, I'm trying to imagine this. If I was to looking at that, it's probably, what do you think, narrowing in what, 1.5 inches?
On each side, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at mine, and if I take away, you know, 1.5 inches on each side, I could hardly put my pedal. You know, I have the Husenfeld Ultimates with the pedal plate. It would be a tight fit. I can't imagine that it gets that narrow.
So it's really wide where the seat is, but like you said, what's the purpose?
Yeah, I just don't get that.
And about the only thing it does is reduce the width of the uprights, right? That be the only advantage, because it's not gonna save real that much footprint. So,
No, you're true.
All right, we already hit that one. And the next thing we have, why does this have deja vu? I thought we already covered this one. We got a 2025 triple screen setup guide.
I think he does it every year.
Yeah, I think he does too. But Dave Cam put this together. You know, it's a good refresher for you if you haven't watched one in a while, or if you're planning to do this. It's kind of nice. He walks through setting it up with surround, without surround. Talks about bezel correction, and then talking about getting the perfect FOV. One thing I did take away from this, and I haven't done it in 100 years, was to get on, once you get everything set up, get on the centripetal. I'm not gonna say it right. Whatever the circle.
Centripetal.
Thank you. And get over towards the wall and use the wall to help make sure that you got your monitors aligned properly. I was a little nervous, so last night I went over and did that, and they were actually spot on, which was nice. But it's one of those things I've forgotten on a way to try to adjust it. Then he talks about how you can go into the camera controls and adjust your yaw and stuff like that. But it's not a very long video, but he gives some good information, straightforward. You know, I like Dave Cam. He's very clear to the point. So nice job.
Yeah, and he shows both ways to do it: the NVIDIA surround way and the way without NVIDIA surround.
I am not a surround fan at all. I want it to be native.
I am just the opposite. I love NVIDIA surround. I want it to be all one monitor.
Nope.
To each his own, but that's the beauty of it, right?
That's right.
All right, this next one is a quick video. It's only 39 seconds long. It's also from OC Racing, and it's showing that there's a video where they accidentally took footage at Logitech of what may be a new direct drive coming into being maybe prototyped, maybe in development, maybe ready for mass production, but it's smaller than the current one, and it looks like it's supposed to be more comparable to the Fanatec CSL direct drive, or a competitor to the new Thrustmaster one that's on the smaller size. It's tiny and probably more affordable, and I don't even think their other one had that much Newton meter.
So, yeah, it looks like the CSL DD. It looks like a carbon copy of it. So it's that size,
Or a Moza.
but or the Moza, yeah.
Still would be better than getting the belt drive or something. Does anybody even still sell belt drive?
I have one on Facebook Marketplace for sale.
Greg's got the last one in existence.
No, there's a guy that's still using my stuff that I sold when I got out of sim racing because I ran into him on the track. So his brother is still using it, and that was the original Fanatec. What CSW? Is that right?
All right, this is not going to be an affordable item. I can just tell you that right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's the flagship Formula Indy wheel for SimCore. They call it the Indy 2 Evo. It is mega loaded with buttons, though I think the button placement is really poor. It's all kind of on the lower end of the thumb range instead of up in the upper, which is, I don't think, ergonomically smart, but we'll see. And it looks upside down, like it's real narrow at the top. It does have 3 sets of pedals and a screen, and it's all pretty orange. 3 knobs. There's the hat switch. Never mind. So what do you think?
So I'm on the website. Surprisingly, $1,500 US.
Cool. So you're not having to pay for a brand. That's probably saving $700 there.
Has anyone actually made an IndyCar rim, like done one yet?
Cosworth, right?
Is that the closest one to it?
So I thought we did a story where you could buy a sim wheel from Cosworth, but it was like mega money.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, this doesn't look bad. It's just that's a lot of buttons and all in weird places.
Yeah, the layout is odd. Like David said, everything's lower than it, and you think about where your hands are sitting on the wheel. Your thumb is to the top, not to the bottom.
Yeah, just take your hand. If you're watching on video, you can see my thumb. I mean, how are you going to get down there, right? Your button should be up here, from 90 degrees to
Without letting go
to north.
Yeah, it splits your fingers too. Like,
I mean, I've got a Sim Magic GT4, and I do have, it's got a button on each side down at the very bottom. But man, I'm trying to remember what I have those mapped. Like I have that map for fuel, just to turn my fuel warning off or whatever. But it's such a oddly used button. I don't use it much. You know what I mean?
Mine are for the damage report and the windshield wipers and the weather report.
That's what I'm saying. So it's something that you don't use all the time, which is fine. But I don't. Like I said, that's two buttons that are on each side that are really almost out of reach. And even there's one in the middle too, isn't there?
Brad?
Yeah.
The price that you said was starting at $1,400. If you add things onto the side, it can get up to $2,000.
So probably the extra paddles.
the paddles and
Clutch, tap paddles, SimCore, USB dock, all that.
All right, sorry.
No, I just wanted to make sure that was like it starts at that price.
That's how they reel you in with basically a lie. All right, that wraps up all the news items. So let's take it to the results, Mike.
Yeah, NASCAR iRacing Series, Nashville. David P. Wrecked.
Yeah, and let me get the results page pulled up. I had two. No, that was Charlotte. Nashville was pretty rough too, and I think I ended up skipping a few races or Friday
You
night.
raced Sunday morning.
I did. Um, this was the Thursday. P-Rex caught up in someone else. That is the wrong. That's for Michigan, actually. That's for today.
You need Friday on, David.
Let's move on then. Friday Open, Nashville. Tony Rochette P4 decided to Mike Ellis it and show up with no practice all week with just a few minutes to spare. It showed with a P22 qual. Race smart, avoided the wrecks of the first half. Last caution was with 78 laps to go, and about 2/3 the way I realized it was probably staying green, so I started saving fuel. A few of the leaders had to pit with 3 to go and gained a few spots. Bonus was the asshole that wrecked me last week's Coke 600 was leading and ran out of gas with 2 to go. Ha 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 ha.
Mike catching strays in a Tony post.
Brad, P27.
Yeah, another disaster of a race. So second DNF of the week for Nashville. Started P7, was running up towards the front, but then got caught up in somebody else's accident, not of my making. Worked to get the damage fixed. I wanted to get caught up in another one again, but second time it was too much damage and we're done. So just a very frustrating week at Nashville. Had a car I think that was good, but just bad luck. Like I said, if you need some IR, look for me, jump in a race. I'll probably give you some.
John Curley, P22, got wrecked, was running in the top 10 when a guy tried to pass under me in turn 1. He did not have enough room to make the pass, so instead of braking, he decided to just take me out. Impatience of drivers like that guy is what is killing NIS. Oh well, I have a good memory. Car was junk after that. By the time repairs were done, I was 13 laps down. Sunday Open, David P2.
Yeah, and this might be one that kind of sort of got away. Started off stretching fuel to make it a one-stop race, but we had a caution after everybody had pitted, so everybody kind of got back to even, and I'm running around 13th. I hang around that spot until a late race caution with 20 laps to go. I take 2 tires, bumping up to P6. It was pretty effective with 2 tires with only 20 laps to go. I survived a lot of carnage at the front. We had a couple of green-white checkers, and the leader on the last restart, he had to serve a penalty for jumping the restart on the previous restart. If I'd have known that, I might have put myself in a little bit better position. But I've also been having tracking issues with Pimax since a recent patch and firmware update comes out. And it's basically the horizon will lock instead of staying where it is, and suddenly it's like you're driving drunk. I mean, everything's the whole world is just moving instead of staying in place. And so, like, even when my butt kicker is rattling, it'll make the screen shake if it's doing this, and it makes it really hard to drive. It's like, I guess what it would be like driving drunk or something. And the horizon was bouncing, and it was really hard to focus on where the wall was going to be on one of those last turns. Where I was on the outside, and so I just really didn't stay in the gas as well as I could, but still finished P2 because I avoided all the carnage.
Great run. Tony, P7. Had a great long run car, but again, late race restart wasn't good for me. Sunday fixed. I started 28th, drove up to 8th by lap 35, but then got destroyed by some loser who couldn't miss it. 7 minutes damage, rode around for quite a while trying to stay on the lead lap and get it fixed, but then got destroyed again and some other incident and too much damage. We're done.
Mike, just to go back to the opens, I raced Sunday morning I was in a split with David. That was probably that's the first oval race I've gotten to race in the Cup Series on my new wheelbase, and it with one of the guys from our Discord sent me some settings to try out, so I plugged them in, and I was able to run. I gotta still fine tune it a bit more, but it was a good. I had a P7 in the Nashville race. I was running mid pack pretty much the whole race. I was trying to do a fuel mileage like David was in that race, and then late cautions, and then caution after caution after caution, and then the green white checkered that I went from 19th to 7th in one lap on the final lap when everybody was just destroying each other. It was just crazy, but it was a good first race and trying with this new rim or with the new base. I gotta just still not totally comfortable with it. I just gotta dial it in. But those settings that one of our listeners provided for me was very helpful.
All right, good run. Moving on to Michigan Wednesday Open. David, a P14.
Yeah, caught up in an early wreck, just unable to avoid the people spinning in front of me. Particularly at Michigan, you just can't get away. It's like it's like plate racing, except you have to sort of let off the gas. But there's nobody's going to get away because of the way the draft is. It's not particularly enjoyable. It was worth about 5 minutes of damage. Actually, it was a four wide wreck. Brad, I don't know if you went back and watched, but you came down, but the guy in the middle inside also came up, and there was a guy inside him and a guy outside you. And in that situation, my recommendation is try to follow the seams at that point. You just can't cross the seam. But we're not pros four wide. But anytime I hear 3 wide, I just, instead of trying to run a racing line, I literally try to follow the contour of the track. But I did, because the racing was so bad, get all the damage fixed, and with enough cautions and flipping to the front on tire strategy, even though I was on terrible restarts, I fell from about 6th to 14th, but I'll take it when I was basically ready to quit with a junked car.
Tony Rochette, P17. Ever get excited for something and then it ended up being one of the worst experiences you ever had? Well, that was me the whole race, and I wasn't even wrecked. Either I wasn't driving the set right, or it was just a miss for me. I still love the track and the Irish Hills. I'll be hanging out in my usual spot, turn 1, with the camera glued to my face. Brad, P10.
Yeah, like Dave said. So started P8, was kind of running up there with the top group, but after a restart, got 4 wide off turn 2, and I just bobbled. I mean, I did. There's just no room for error there. I didn't know I was 4 wide. I knew we were 3 wide, but so I ended up bouncing off the car on the inside. And like I said, David, I'm sorry I collected you. Just
Well, he was coming up too, though. He was.
I know,
Really
I
met in the
know.
middle.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. So again, it's that guy that took to the outside, did that every single restart and put everybody in bad positions, but whatever. From then on, it was just kind of a fight to get the damage fixed. Did make a mistake of pitting early before the pits were open, and with the intention of trying to get down pit road twice to get damage fixed. Knowing I'm going to get the end of the longest line, I'm like, so be it. Come down the second time, that's when I got flagged for passing under yellow. So I guess with the quickie yellows, it just doesn't work, but I won't do that again. So I ended up with 11-second hold, lost a lap. Did manage to get the lap back finally. Got all the repairs fixed. Was able to drive back to the front. I'm happy with the finish. It was just a very frustrating race. 2A opens I've done same way. Just it's not fun. You just can't go anywhere. It's track position, track position, track position. If you can start up front, you can stay up front. But you get mired in the back, it's really hard to go anywhere.
All right.
It's not just hard to pass. It's like it's literally plate racing. The middle line is filled up, the outside line's filled up, and even the inside line's filled up. And there's just no room and no room to there's no way to separate yourself.
All right. I ran Thursday Open, Michigan, riding around 20th, lap 9. They wreck up ahead of me. I see him wrecking going down low. I see him going up high, and I go through the middle. I haven't missed, I think. Then the guy from behind me runs into me. So I slowed down more than he did. He hooks me hard right into the wall. I blow an engine. David, you wrecked out.
Yeah, just another case of this racing means everybody's just fighting and clawing, and a lot of guys in our splits just can't maintain a lane, and that they didn't, and got two guys got turned in front of me, and I clipped them, and it was too much damage, wouldn't let me get back on the track.
Okay, moving on to Draft Master Kyle Pendergraft, top split Daytona B car P1 by half a car. Started P5 and just shoveled back to P10 until the big one on lap 8 happened going into 3, and it was a sketchy moment. Blocked bumpers with P4 and worked with him to make up a 2-second gap to the top 3. We run them down, and coming to the white, P1 makes a bad block to the high lane and gets sent to the infield, collecting 2 more cars, and I slid up to P2. Stayed on the leader's bumper until P3 was knocking on my bumper, and we went high going into turn 3, where I was able to squeak out a win. Second oval win this week. Feeling pretty good with 2 wins in the bag this week. And this race having a 0x each. I have now set my highest I rating of 28-23 since joining in April of 2020. Well done. A Open, Brad, Michigan.
Yeah, P14 and the P15. So Monday night just kind of missed the gearing on the first A Open. Looking at the notes from the Premier Racing setups, suggested a gear change. Did not do that Monday, and I just struggled with it. So I did the gear change. It was better Tuesday, but both races just got collected in somebody else's mess. Got collected in the 3 wide. Tuesday night damage, just kind of struggled for pace after getting most of it fixed. So that's kind of the problem. Even when I got all the damage fixed, I don't think I really ever got all the damage fixed. Even though it said it was, you could just tell it was off pace. But again, it's just very, very frustrating racing.
Okay, let's move to the GT Sprint Series. Brad, P18, Monza Rain.
Yeah, so I hadn't run anything IMSA or anything in a while, so I said, you know what, let me go ahead and do this. I don't know, I spent a couple nights just turning some laps. I like Monza, I'm very inconsistent here. And look at the forecast, and it's like, oh, rain is unlikely. 11% chance of rain. Oh, okay, cool. Not a big deal. Qualified, it's dry. Race loads, it's raining. I'm like, wow. I haven't turned a single lap in the rain. So yeah, it was the typical carnage first 2 laps. Started 18th, and I think after the second lap I got up to P10 and ended up getting collected in a stack up. Was quite a bit of nose damage. I mean, it's just hard. The chicanes at Monza, if somebody gets turned, especially in the wet, everybody stops and there's nowhere to go. I ended up a couple laps after that with the front end nose damage, a little bit off pace. I ended up spinning coming out of Lesmo 1 and got even more nose damage, but just kind of kept at it, just tried to avoid the SR loss. But yeah, the old, rain is unlikely. And get in there, it's 100% chance of rain. I don't understand it sometimes.
All right. IndyCar iRacing Series. Wow, this is impressive. Kyle Pendergraft, P1 at Auto Club. Started P13 and just picked off cars one by one and battled for the lead. Led 6 laps, but unfortunately I got this win the way I didn't want to get it. 3 to go. We were about to hit turn 1, and I go to squeeze the gap between P1 and P2 for a 3-wide run. When P2 drops down to block, and I bump P1, and that takes out P1 and P2 and hands me the win under the caution. Whoops. Majors Series, Le Mans 2.4. David, P9.
Yeah, we had to run top split, and I actually leapfrogged Tom through pit strategy. He for some reason went ahead and took tires and short pitted. I ran it out and didn't take tires, but he was still a little quicker, ran me down. And we also had another driver that was right near us that shouldn't have been, but he didn't take enough fuel, so he ended up right in the mix with us as well. I'm right in front of Tom. I'm holding him off on the last lap. And we catch an LMP2 right at the wrong time, coming at the end of the Mulsanne straight. And it's impossible for me to get a good enough exit off of the hard right-hander, and he gets beside me going into Indianapolis, and we drive around Indianapolis side by side, doing some pretty epic side by side racing. The other guy's right behind us, and then I completely missed the braking point coming to the right-hander and overshoot the corner, and they both cut behind me and I followed the Knights. So it made for some good TV. It definitely got coverage on the split, and it was still fun. In that top split, I didn't belong in the top split, but they put all the regular season guys in the top split instead of moving us down. So I should have been third split, but I still didn't finish last.
Sounds like a good run. Tom Dreiling got a P6 there. Other racing I ran the IndyCar Series fixed. I started P1 out of 14th. I finished P6. Pretty proud of that, actually. Then the Rainmeister at Roscogan in the GT3s, I got wrecked out quick in that one. Then I ran IndyCar at Daytona in a hosted race, started 45 out of 60, wrecked out. That's fun with 60 IndyCars, by the way, at Daytona. Then IndyCar fixed at Detroit, qualified 11th out of 15, P8, no incidents. I ended up getting 0.12 SR, and that got me to 3.5 SR. So this concludes my 4th NPR race at level B. So when week 13 comes, I will be promoted to Class A Formula. So I really kind of spent the week getting my dirt road NPR up and my SR high enough so I'll be promoted. And I decided to do the Formula license as well. All I had to do is run the IndyCar 4 times, and this was the final 4th time, and keep my SR high enough so I will be promoted when next week hits. Then I did hosted 87s at Talladega, started 40th out of 45. I got wrecked out twice. Then trucks at Talladega hosted, started 32nd out of 45, wrecked out. Then the Fanatec GT Challenge at the Ring, qualified 6th out of 18th. It was pitch black at night. I can't see. I didn't have the driving line on. I wrecked out lap 1 about halfway through the lap. 7 minutes damage. I parked it. That's it. Final thoughts, Greg Hectus.
Just was pretty proud of just getting in and racing again at Nashville there. I feel like my iRating, my skills gone away for my iRating that I'm at right now on the oval side, but it should balance itself out the more I race here, I guess, or if I get better at it. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm gonna miss the Michigan races this weekend. I'm going away this weekend, so I won't get any starts in this at all at Michigan. So it doesn't look like I'm missing much. So looks like we come back next week to Daytona, I think, for the road to substitute for Mexico.
Yuck. All right, Brad Wren, final thought.
Going into week 13 next week, so excited for the new build. Curious how the GT3s are going to be. Actually, pretty curious to see how the updated tire model for the next gen is going to be, what the road course next week. My biggest complaint with this car has been the tires on the road courses. Just feel like they're hard pieces of plastic. So I'm hoping that the new tire will make that a little bit better. So that just kind of a little decompressed week next week a little bit. I like week 13. I'm gonna probably do a little bit of cleanup on the rig and stuff like that. And it's kind of what I normally do usually during week 13. Make sure everything's good. So ready for a little break.
Yep, like that week 13 cycle. And then David Hall, final thought.
Well, I'm not particularly excited about running Daytona Road in the Cup car. I am looking forward to the Majors 24, though. I know we've got at least a team of 3. We might have that 4th, but if not, we'll just rough it out.
Okay, my final thought: my Moza active brake pedal. Ordered March 21st, I believe. No, March 24th, maybe. And now what is it? June 5th. I got a tracking number from UPS 9 days ago, and it says today, it still says shipping label created. That's it. So, guess I'm still waiting for that. My iRating in oval hasn't been this low in years. I'm actually at 2494 after the 2 last DNFs, finishing almost dead last in both NIS races. I'm embarrassed, to be honest. I should be at a 3200. I mean, that's where I used to be most of the time. So to be below 2500, yeah, I'm embarrassed a little bit. Last is week 13. I'm really looking forward to Gen 4. I said it before. I feel like this is going to be my moment. It's going to be my car. I think I'm going to fall in love with it. I'm going to try to run it a lot. I'm really hoping for the best as far as the community coming out to support it strong. So, hey, with that, we'll see you on the track. Later. Okay, title ideas. We got 2.
2.
Number 2.
Yeah. Is that spelled right? His last name?
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell it.
I'll make sure it's right.
All right. Yeah.